Hello everyone, welcome back to Hinamizawa for the first time in a while. So, I got my notes here. Hold on, am I streaming my notes? I mean, you can just check the Google Doc. Should be shared with you.
Oh, yeah.
So, we got a lot of tabs here. So first of all, we got the very important Xander Cage gift link. I have no fucking idea who Xander Cage is, but I think it's funny only because I don't know who Xander Cage is, and I think the link is funnier than the gift, so I kept it there. Anyway, so I got notes on all the characters.
Oh, yeah.
I won't go through these for now, but... yeah, we can just look at this. The only one I'll go over... well, I'll go over two. So first of all, Narrator-chan. So I am very suspicious that the narrator is not Keiichi at this point, in light of things that happened in Chapter 3. So
Yeah.
I am noting down when it is, you know, Keiichi saying something versus when it's the narrator saying something. And I think Narrator-chan is just kind of funny to say, so... anyway.
Yeah.
So, the other one I wanted to point out is Frederica Bronkostel, and I am only pointing this out because of this section. Unfortunately, I have to abstain from making theories on this one's identity. If you know, you know. I don't really need to say any more than that. If you know, you know.
Fair enough.
Alright, so... you got locations listed here. I don't have anything exciting here yet, except I did note down some locations I did not before, specifically that there's most likely a cake shop, a pharmacy, and a department store in Okinomiya, and that's about it. So, got the serial freak death incidents written down, and now I'll just skim over the important parts of my notes. Most of this is probably junk notes, I'll be honest. So, first of all, I'm just gonna go over the ones that I actually wrote down notes for. So, first of all, I think there's a good chance that Narrator-chan is Rika, and I have some reasons for that. I think I actually expanded more in this section. So in Tatari Garoshi, there were some scenes where the narration got a little bit not Keiichi, like not things I think Keiichi would think. And like the perspective would switch. And like at first I thought, oh, you know, it's just doing the VN thing where, you know, sometimes the perspective switches to, you know, a certain background or something. But in Chapter 3, when I started to notice this weird non-Keiichi-like narration, I started paying more attention to that, and I realized that there's one scene where it's like, it shifts perspective to directly outside of Keiichi's house. And Rika should have been there at that time.
Yeah.
And then in Onikakushi, this happened as well. I don't remember which scene now, but there was a scene where this happened again, and the background suddenly shifted to the view of Hinamizawa from Furude Shrine, which really, I think that kind of seals the deal for me, but we'll keep going, I suppose.
Yeah.
Alright, I'm gonna keep going down my notes. So, oh yeah, I also dated everything. Pretty slick.
Yeah.
Keiichi survives for a whole, 6 days after Watanagashi in this chapter, by the way. It's not very good at that. Anyway. This part I'm not going to explain too much because it's not actual evidence, but you can just go ahead and read this here if you want. Scroll down. Alright, this one's a little bit interesting. So, the narration explains that Old Bachelor is Old Maid without the Joker, but Arena pointed out that the lone card in Old Maid is a queen, because, you know, it's called Old Maid. And then I suggested this might be saying there's not like a traditional killer, but there's elements that are removed that cause the events to unfold how they do.
Yeah, I think that's the case too, actually.
Yeah.
'Cause why change the card game if there's like no significance to it, you know?
Yeah. Okay, wait, I forgot to write down a note for this one, but during zombie tag... Well, I guess I didn't need to write down a note because this is self-explanatory, but during zombie tag, the most significant thing that happens is that Keiichi decides to get a head start by giving a fake message for Sadako that her parents are at the gate, which she apparently fell for. And so about Sadako's parents, they're dead.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
They're dead
I forgot
and
about
or
that.
missing. So, yeah.
Yeah. That's certainly interesting. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
We
Okay.
definitely didn't know that at that point.
We did
For
not,
sure,
no.
but
We definitely did not know that at that point in the story.
yeah, so that's strange. That's something
I
to
think
about.
that might actually be a significant detail.
It really may be, yeah.
Yeah. I think, honestly, I'm starting to lean towards the possibility of Sadako being the quote-unquote culprit. Possibly? Anyway, so, then I went over the, dam site scene, you know, the excavation of Colonel Sanders. And the first thing I noticed is that right after he goes home from school, he gathers up some things to go to the dam site. He explicitly asks his mom for work gloves and towels. His mom seems very, very confused by this, and the more I think about it, I am too, because wait, why does he need towels exactly? Because I checked that whole scene, I don't think he ever uses the towels.
Yeah, now
So
thinking
that's
about it,
a little bit odd.
yeah, I don't think he uses them during that scene either, so why even bring it up? It's gotta have some significance.
Yeah. And then I also added that this whole scene just feels weirdly written with the context that the narration might not be Keiichi. Because, and, like, just look at this line, for example. The narration is lamenting that Keiichi can no longer chat with Rena as he works. She's like 5 feet away in this situation. Why can he no longer chat with Rena?
Yeah.
Very, very odd. Anyway. So this is where I noted down the shops in Okinomiya, blah blah blah. I don't think there's much important beyond this point. Well, not that I noted down anyway, that I didn't, like, that needed to be noted down, I suppose.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I also, okay, this isn't an actual detail, but I completely forgot that Oishi introduces himself with the nickname Kura-chan, and no one ever fucking uses it, which I think is really funny. I legitimately forgot that he said this. I don't
did
think
too.
a single person calls him Kura-chan in this story.
Not to my recollection, no.
Yeah. I was very surprised when I saw that one.
Yeah, that's weird.
So I didn't write down many more notes after this point, because it's a little bit, you know, just waiting for things to happen, mostly.
Yeah, pretty much.
So, we get the car scene, you know, we get... I already noted down that it felt manipulative at the start, and it's pretty obvious that it was manipulative now, so whatever. Okay, this part is actually important, this big block of text. So I'm just gonna go through this as fast as I can. So, he starts he basically pretends to be asleep, and the group splits off. So Rena and Mion start whispering to each other about what happened on Watanagashi. So someone, and they refer to this person as a male, vanished after Watanagashi. And apparently he can hear Mion clearly, but Rena is not very easy to hear. So Rena asks if it's only Tomatake. I took some liberty in interpreting this text for this block, by the way. So Rena asks if it's only Tomatake. Mion doesn't know. Rena asks, there are others, right? And Mion responds that they don't know if it was a curse or an act of Onikakushi. So, again, they're using those terms distinctly. Rena asks if there was another victim, and Mion says that if it was Oyashiro-sama's, there would be, because, yeah, that's the pattern. And then Rena says something cut off, which I am not confident on, but my interpretation is that she said, this year, that didn't happen at all. Oryo and Kimiyoshi, that's, in case you forgot, Oryo is, Mion's grandma. Or,
Right,
sorry.
Right.
Not grandma. I'm pretty sure she's just her mom, right?
I think. So.
Anyway.
I don't remember.
Anyway, Kimiyoshi is the mayor of Hinamizawa, and they apparently had a conversation, and they talked to the police, who were assured that it would be taken care of without causing a commotion. And then Rena says, without us knowing it, someone had... She just says ED, so unfortunately we don't get to know if she said killed, kidnapped, or whatever. But I'm going to presume it's probably one of those two. Them.
Yeah, me too. That feels like what she was trying to say there.
Yeah, Mion just says maybe. Just one word. That's exact quote. And then Rena says that she could be the next victim. Mion assures her that she wouldn't because she got home safely. Presumably she's not referring about, Watanagashi specifically, but the incident where, at her old school. Where she, left Hinamizawa.
Went nuts. Yeah.
And then Rena basically says, but blank is not allowed. I presume she said, but leaving the village is not allowed. Mion says it was a long time ago and they should stop talking about it. And then they both go silent. So that's a pretty interesting conversation now with all of the context provided, I think.
Yeah.
So, starts getting clues about Satoshi, blah, 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 blah. And then they begin the walk home together. So let me just get that. This is on June 21st. Oh, no. It's chapter jump. And I should take down this Firefox window. Cool. Alright, just gonna skip through this since we just went over all this part.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, one other thing that I did want to note in this scene is that Sadako manages to sneak up behind him and put tacks on his chair and tie his shoes together, all while he is not actually asleep. Jesus Christ, what are you on, kid? Alright, and then Mion has to go, so this is the last club meeting of the chapter before Keiichi starts going properly insane.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, also, Rena lies about not knowing who Satoshi is in this chapter. Notably, when she was confronted about it in chapter 3, she just outright said it, so I'm wondering why she hides it here. Alright, this one, I would actually like to read together, potentially.
Okay.
Because, this is just a good scene. This is a
Yeah.
first instance of eyes. So, I can do narration, you can do Rena?
Sure.
Narration and Keiji. Okay. I didn't know anything. I had nothing to worry about. I was just enjoying my everyday life. My long, outstretched shadow gave no answer to my naive inquiry.
Keiichi-kun, are you tired, maybe? Maybe?
Rena timidly questioned the reason behind my mood. I'm sure my expression made the situation even more unsettling. You think so?
Yeah. You seem to have been a little out of it ever since this morning. Maybe a cold?
That's an interesting line with the context of there actually being like a syndrome.
Yeah.
Physically, I was pretty sure I was in perfect health. It may not seem like it, but I have had a perfect attendance since elementary school. Rena continued on since I didn't give her an answer.
It could be that the fatigue from moving has finally caught up to you. It's completely different from where you used to live, after all. Of course you've gotten tired, since there's so much you need to get used to and remember.
Maybe that's it.
Yeah, it has to be. I was also like that at first, too. I can tell, you know. You know?
I wondered if Rena also experienced the slight bit of alienation last year that I was feeling right now. No, she did not! Well, actually, no, she might have. She might have, actually, because that's against the rules, isn't it?
I think so.
Yeah, she might have, actually. That's actually a funny line in context, because I immediately thought, no, she's been a Hinamizawa native, but she actually might have! So that's funny. It's actually not a mystery, wow. Anyway, thinking so, I felt that she was the only one who could understand how I felt. I'd like to hear about when you first came to Hinamizawa. How was it? Feeling I had been drawn into the conversation, her face suddenly brightened.
It was the same as Keiichi-kun. I didn't know the villagers' names at all. Mi-chan and the rest were all very kind, so I wasn't lonely, but I did still feel a little out of place.
Rena told me all the details of when she had moved here. All of her first acquaintances and surprises, worries and good times. So, Sadako got you too?
Yeah, there was a thumbtack put on my chair. Poke. Then with that, Yeah, that really takes me back.
When were you invited into the club? The first day?
Nah, there wasn't a club at the beginning. It was formed part way through. One day, she said we should stay after and hold a big game tournament.
Come to think of it, Mion did say she was the first club president. Well, I get it.
This is a secret, but Mi-chan used to be really bad at the beginning. She'd never win.
Huh? Mion, really? I can't even imagine that.
She had to do most of the penalties that she came up with. Seriously, don't tell.
I can't believe Mion was like that. So she gradually transformed into a monster who used any means necessary to win during that time. Mion is at her best when she's fighting dirty.
I began making more friends besides Mi-chan after that. But yeah, it might have only been since you moved here that I had finally felt like I had gotten used to it here.
This is wonderful in the context that she's just bullshitting a lot.
Yeah.
I don't think she's probably bullshitting about this part and this part, at least.
Yeah. That seems truthful.
She could also be, because keep in mind, the way Sadako phrased his... Sadako? The way Keiichi phrased his question was, I'd like to hear about when you first came to Hinamizawa. So she could just be answering honestly, technically, because he didn't say when you came to Hinamizawa last year.
That's
Anyway.
also true.
I guess Rena had also been left in the dark about Oyashiro-sama when she just moved here. I guess when they finally told me about Oyashiro-sama, I'd be considered one of them. I wonder when I'll finally be considered one of them.
Huh? Did you say something?
No, sorry. Just talking to myself.
Keiichi-kun, you're silly.
That's an interesting line. Again, responding to the narration.
Yeah.
Rena was poking fun and laughing at me, and I couldn't help but laugh as well. But I suddenly stopped. Then, after making up my mind, I spoke. Hey, Rena. Is there something that everybody is keeping from me?
Huh? No, not at all.
You're lying, aren't you? Rena suddenly stopped. Her expression was cold and intense.
What do you mean by that, Keiichi-kun?
Her tone was still the same cheery and light-hearted one as before. You are, aren't you? Keeping something from me? After understanding what I meant, her expression grew even more intense. Seeing that face, I regretted saying something so rash. But she came back at me in a way I didn't expect.
Well then, Keiichi-kun, aren't you keeping something from us?
Huh? Her tone didn't change, but it was the first time I'd seen this expression from Rena. With how her gaze pierced through me, I couldn't believe this was the same Rena.
Aren't you? Lies or secrets? Aren't you?
You are. Secrets. She didn't actually say that part, but she looked as if she did. The incident with Tomatake-san, and how I felt alienated from the group. Even without having to think about it, there were things I knew that I felt guilty about. But I didn't tell everyone about what happened with Tomatake-san to be considerate. I was keeping it a secret just the same way they didn't tell me about Oyashiro-sama. Then, aren't we even? No, I'm not. No lies. Nor secrets.
Liar.
Her answer was instant and it shook me. Rena stared as if burrowing through me, watching me like a hawk. Why would you say I'm lying?
Didn't you say that you were called into the teacher's room yesterday during the club meeting, Keiichi-kun? I know. You didn't go to the teacher's room.
I swallowed hard. It clearly wasn't a bluff. She knew what happened.
The teacher said you had a guest, didn't she? But you didn't talk at the entrance. You talked inside of the car near the school gate with some man we don't know.
Okay, well, she's just lying about that last part, for sure. Rena knew everything. I like how it says Rena knew everything right after some man we don't know. That's a great juxtaposition.
Yeah, it is.
She knew that I was called out by Oishi-san, and that I heard about the incident with Tomatake-san as well. Did she know all of it?
Exactly who was that man?
I don't know him.
Why did someone you don't know have business with you?
I want to know that myself.
Then what did you talk about?
It has nothing to do with you guys. It was a lie.
Lies!
Rena's scream echoed through the trees. sending frightened birds into the air. I couldn't exhale the deep breath I had just taken. No, it was like I wasn't allowed to exhale. It was here I first realized. The person in front of me, she wasn't Rena Ryugu. Then, who was it that was standing before me now? Who had assumed Rena Ryugu's appearance? I had held my breath for so long. I could feel... I held my breath for so long. I could feel myself suffocating.
Right?
And then she made a facial expression that Rena might normally have made. It didn't matter that it was Rena's usual smile. It chilled me to the bone. She drew closer to me. Oh, wait, yeah. That's a good line as well. It didn't matter that it was Rena's usual smile, meaning it was in fact Rena's usual smile. She drew closer to me. I felt her breath against my face. It wasn't the least bit exciting. Whoever this was with Rena's face was going to chew my nose right off. I cowered as I imagined that. Then, she smirked as if she was able to see right through me.
We also have secrets, just like how Keiichi-kun has secrets.
It was Rena's usual smile, but her eyes were still like that of a hawk's. Bringing her face close enough to mine to almost bump into my nose, she kindly persuaded me. I couldn't nod or shake my head. This person standing in front of me, this person who looked like Rena, frightened me to my core. I was terrified knowing that she could hear the sound of me swallowing nervously. After what felt like an eternity, after a long, empty silence, she finally spoke.
Let's go. It's getting chilly.
It was Rena again. Smiling at me once more, she started walking as if nothing at all had happened. When I was released from her gaze, my legs gave out from under me and I slumped onto the ground. I wasn't able to lift a finger until Rena was out of sight. Who was that? I felt cold. My body was drenched in sweat. I was finally able to form a coherent thought and ask myself once again, who was that person who looked like Rena Ryugu? Oh yeah. So I think what I'll do is I'll just keep going, and I'll stop at scenes that I think will be interesting to reread. I think that'll be more interesting than just rapidly skipping through everything. And then I'll write down my notes later.
So, the thing where their eyes go like glossy like that happened in chapter 4 too, with Rika.
Yeah.
That's gotta be something, right?
It could just be an effect of the syndrome, I guess. That's a possibility.
Possibly? But I remember that Rika's personality completely like shifted when that happened. When she was talking to what's his face? I forget his name.
Akasaka.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, like her personality did like a complete 180, and then after it was over, she went back to normal. So
yeah,
that's
maybe
something to think about. I think
I'll write that down in my notes later. Or
could
actually,
be like,
actually, I can just hold on. Let me just give you I'll just give you a new tab to work with. Here you go.
yeah.
And then alright, you should be able to comment now. So you can check the theories tab and write your whatever you think down, and I will add that to the main list later.
Okay, I'll go ahead and type that.
Yeah.
while we're doing this. Alright.
Oh, right. He got a call from the bookstore.
Oh, yeah.
Hmm. That's actually... I kind of skimmed over this before, but look at what Oishi says here. The phone number on the piece of paper I gave you yesterday was the old number. My apologies. Can you copy down the number I'm about to give you?
Hmm.
Huh. That's odd. Why would he make a mistake like that?
Yeah.
Hmm. I guess we can do this scene as well, because he talks about, I think this is where he first points suspicion on Rena, I believe.
Alrighty.
Uishi-san, do you know what this Onikakushi thing is about?
Let me zoom back in. I believe that's when somebody suddenly vanishes because they've been abducted by a demon. It's a special saying from around here. It has the same meaning as spirited away, like everyone else says.
Whereas my friends would say they didn't know when I asked. This older man gave me a direct answer. It made me a bit happy that he answered me directly without trying to hide anything.
Hinamizawa was, um, not not sure if I should tell you this, my Barasan.
Don't try to play this off. If you're not going to talk, I'm not going to tell you anything.
Ah, no, that's not what I meant. It's just, it may make you feel bad. You see, long ago, Hinamizawa was feared as the village where demons reside.
Demons? By demons, you mean those pitchfork carrying things in hell?
Hmm, more like human-eating monsters. They'd go down to villages, snatching people up and gobbling them down. That kind of tale.
Demons snatching people up is what this Onikakushi really means. That's important, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you remember correctly, my whole theory with the swamp gas started from the imagery of the demons rising from the swamp. If these are
Yeah.
those same demons, then what Onakakushi actually means is somebody died from gas. Most likely, I think.
Mm.
They said that the curse and being demoned away happened together. What does that mean? I already knew about the mysterious deaths happening 5 years in a row. But I didn't know there were people disappearing for those same 5 years.
The curse and being demoned away happened together? First time I've heard of that. Is that how it is, my Barasan?
That's what I want to know. I heard Rena and Mion talking. They said that if it was really Oyashiro-sama's curse, then both the curse and demoning away would happen. No! Keiichi! That is in fact not what they said! Actually. Hold on. What did they say exactly?
Yeah, that's right. I didn't say that.
They said almost the exact opposite. They said they didn't know if it was Onikakushi or Oyashiro-sama's curse. Was this line just the most blatant misdirection ever, and we fucking fell for it? Wow. That's
Yeah.
awesome. Uishi-san began hemming and hawing on the other end of the receiver. Maybe something about that came to mind.
Ibara-san, do you know the first incident? The murder by dismemberment.
Yeah? One of the 6 perpetrators is still on the run, right?
Hypothetically, what if he isn't on the run, but was demoned away?
Huh? It was an outrageous hypothesis from Oishi-san. The incident 4 years ago was the particularly ghastly one. The police already knew the perpetrators, so they posted tons of wanted posters with his face on them. They staked out various locations and investigated every possible escape route he had. But after 4 years, there wasn't even a hint of where he might be. Unless the police were completely incompetent. I'm screenshotting that one just in case.
Yeah.
Even if it was an outrageous hypothesis, I couldn't simply laugh it off. Then what about the incident the next year, when the man who supported the project and his wife both died in an accident?
Well, actually, it was only the husband who died in an accident. His wife's body never surfaced. Unless we find the body, then it's considered a missing person by law.
Yeah, so I actually do have some thoughts about this part. So, if it was Sadako's mother that never reappeared again, I have a suspicion, and this is just a wild speculation at this point. I don't really have much to back this up other than hair color. I think Takano might be Sadako's mom. Maybe. Possibly.
That's an interesting theory.
It does sort of make me wonder what's exactly going on there with the whole Tepe thing then. Anyway.
Yeah.
At the time of the incident, with the river below the cliff being muddy rapids, the police divers had searched every branch off the mainstream of the river for dozens of miles. But in the end, they weren't able to find her body. But that's just them not being able to find the body. She's still dead, right? Isn't it different from her being demoned away?
We cannot say someone is dead without their body. Until a certain number of years pass, by law, she's treated as still alive.
I'm not sure if it was right to call that being demoned away. The wife is missing. At least that part was reality. How about the 3rd year? The Shinto priest died of illness. And his wife committed suicide?
Ibara-san, that's actually the exact same scenario.
The wife had supposedly thrown herself into the bottomless swamp deep in the forest around Hinamizawa. Meaning it's all circumstantial evidence. They simply found her suicide note in front of the swamp. A diver was able to recover a few of her articles, but they weren't able to find a body. The investigative headquarters believed that she had faked her death and was still alive somewhere.
I'm not sure if we could refer these cases as being demoned away. It's just as you said. Every year, one person does go missing.
God damn, I really should have paid closer attention to Oishi's dialogue. He's just been, like, correct? So far, I'm pretty sure? Like, he's been absolutely correct about most of the things he says. Keiichi just keeps focusing on the wrong part. He heard, like, he completely mentally skipped over Oishi saying that Takano is most likely involved as well.
Yeah.
Dang Oishi, he's good at this. The incident this year, the woman with Tomatake-san has gone missing. Then what about the incident with the housewife beaten to death? Who went missing? I believe the perpetrator was caught, right?
Yeah, we arrested him. He was just a miscreant with a record of narcotics abuse. He admitted to the crime while being questioned about a different incident. But, well, you see, after he was arrested, a child from the victim's home went missing. It's still under investigation. as to whether the disappearance had anything to do with the crime.
But you said you caught him, right? Did he have an accomplice?
No idea. It was most likely only the one perpetrator. Moreover, we can't even check now, because while under investigation, that man, he died in his holding cell.
He swallowed a spork and choked to death. Also, if the narration is not Keiichi, then I think we can take... And also, if the narration is Rika, like I suspect it is, do note that they keep saying Rika is the only one who explains things plainly, which means these little bits of narration explaining what happened are most likely verbatim correct. So, it's not like this guy disappeared and he has a clone walking around somewhere or something. No. He swallowed a spork, and he choked to death. That's what happened. It's not known whether it was an accident or suicide. Meaning, for the last 5 years, there's always one person who dies and one who goes missing?
That's about right. No, actually, I'm surprised as well. I've never realized they had that in common.
Okay, maybe he's not the best cop ever.
Maybe not.
I couldn't believe that this could help lead to the closing of those incidents. It was just something they had in common. Oh, now that's a juicy line. Could it be that those demoned away have something in common? Oishi-san mumbled as he seemed to be thinking about it. So I summarized the events. The first year was the dam employee. Second year was the wife of a dam project supporter. Third year was the wife of the Shinto priest. Fourth year was the victim's family's child, and the fifth year was the victim's girlfriend, I guess. Doesn't seem like there's anything that connects them. Okay, so let's go over this with the context now.
Yeah.
So, the first year was the dam construction foreman. I don't remember what his name is, but he is named now, I guess?
Something like... Yeah.
I'll have to check
the... He was in the
the...
4th chapter, right?
Yeah, he was in the 4th chapter.
Yeah, that one of the guys they played Mahjong with. Okay.
So second year... So the second year, the victim was Sadako's mother. The third year was Rika's mother. The fourth year was Satoshi, Sadako's brother. And the fifth year was Takano.
Yeah.
I guess. Alright. So, 3 of those... Okay, well, I should say 2 of those, because Takano isn't really confirmed as being related, but... If Takano is related, that would mean that 3 of these, like, everything except the first one and the third year, would all have to relate with Sadako's family.
Yeah. Oh, with the exception of the first year, wives and girlfriends, those do stand out.
Does seem like there are a lot. And that means the fourth year's victim's child was different. It would have really stood out if they were all married couples. Except it's not just married couples, but parents and children as well. Except, come to think of it, I believe Tomitake-san also told me the younger brother... Come to think of it, I believe Tomitake-san also told me the younger brother is alive and has moved, if I recall correctly. Hold on, I'm gonna screenshot that, because I want to double-check later. The child that went missing in the 4th year, who were they?
Apparently he was quite mature. 1 year older than you. His name was Satoshi Hojo-san.
Huh? Satoshi? I remembered that name. Didn't they tell me Satoshi transferred out last year?
He was at your school up until last year. Didn't they tell you anything about him?
Come to think of it, when I transferred in, I believe they said my seat belonged to a recent transfer student. Then, where I sat, once belonged to the one who was demoned away. It was his seat? I recalled the cold sensation that came from that desk. It made my hair stand up on end. The string of mysterious deaths. No, Oyashiro-sama's curse. I now knew how it connected to me. That chilling sensation. It was the feeling of Oyashiro-sama caressing the back of my neck. Okay, that part definitely seems like it's more Keiichi's thoughts. Although I do not think that necessarily means the narrator is Keiichi here, because, you know, authors can write down characters' thoughts.
Yep.
Oyashiro-sama's curse. Huh? Could Oyashiro-sama's curse really exist? In all honesty, I was beginning to believe it. And I was scared. That was why I wanted to say it was a plot crafted by man, and not the work of a curse. But the more I dug into it, the less likely that seemed. No, the more I dug, the more mysterious it became. If I kept digging, eventually, I'd reach the point where I'd learn something I really shouldn't know. To be either none the wiser or to seek an answer I may regret. Which one would I be happier with? Maybe it'll be me next time. My execution could only be delayed for 1 year. That was when I remembered. Rena. Rena said she may be the next victim of the curse.
You mean Rena of Yugu-san? She transferred in last year and she's your classmate, isn't she? These incidents really might be a bit too disturbing for a girl. She's not just scared, is she?
It wasn't that. She said it might be her next. She said it in a way that made me think she had a concrete reason behind it. It felt like she was convinced. Almost as if... you could say she was frightened. Her sudden change in demeanor. That someone who looked like Rena, but wasn't Rena. That might be unrelated. All the strange things that I felt from Rena today came back to me.
I see. Then I'll be doing a bit of investigating on this end. Please continue your observations of Yugu-san, Maibara-san.
I am glad that I decided to do a reread, because I actually forgot that Oishi didn't know at first. So that means it was probably very, very covered up. This was not something that was supposed to ever be found out by anyone.
Mm-hmm.
Are you asking me to keep Rena under surveillance?
That's not what I mean, Maibara-san. I just want you to watch out for your friend so she doesn't end up the next victim.
Okay. That's just a lie.
Oh, yeah.
At this moment, just as my mouth was agape because I was so impressed with his mature, clever way with words, also known as lying. That was the quick save sound. I've never used that button before. Knock, knock. A sudden knock at the door sent my heart racing. In an instant, I had pointlessly covered up the end of the receiver.
Keiichi, get the door, please.
On the other side of the door, I heard my father's oddly upbeat voice. What could it be? It's so late. Sorry, my dad just came in. Can we leave it at this for tonight?
My apologies again for calling so late. If you find out anything else, please let me know. I'll tell you if I make any progress on this end. Well then, have a pleasant evening. Keiichi, hurry and open up. Daddy's got his hands full.
What is Dad doing? I had stayed in the same position while on the phone the whole time, so my joints were aching. When I opened the door, I saw my father was standing there with a tray. On that tray, cookies and 2 cups of black tea. A fairly fancy spread for our household. There was even sugar and lemon slices on the side. Everything you could ask for. This was quite the show of hospitality. What's going on, Dad? What's all this for?
Come now. Don't play around, Keiichi. I'm coming in.
Dad was in high spirits and had a smirk on his face. But for my entire life, I've never seen him act this hospitable. What had gotten into him?
So, what were you talking about?
I jumped. It's not something I had to keep from my father, but how could I explain to him that I was talking to a detective? I'm assuming he was, this late at night. Nothing much. Just a friend.
I don't mean the phone. She was here, wasn't she? Rena-chan.
Huh? She wasn't here.
Come now. Don't try to keep it from me. She just came over to play. You two were chatting away, so I thought I'd bring some tea, but it looks like I just missed her.
I had no idea what Dad was talking about, but a cold sweat dripped down my back. How long were we talking?
Rena-chan went upstairs about half after, so it was close to an hour, I guess?
You saw her come up to the second floor?
Yeah, I did. I also told her that your room was the door down the hall up the stairs.
Rena came to my house about an hour ago. Dad met her at the door and called out to me on the second floor. I probably didn't hear him because I was so focused on my conversation with Oishi-san. I didn't reply, but he knew I was in my room, so he had her come inside. Then told her my room was on the second floor. She thanked my dad and went upstairs. Then, about an hour passed. She passed by my dad just as he was bringing up tea and left. She came upstairs and about an hour passed. Then passed by my dad and returned home. Then, after she came upstairs, and until she left, where was Rena? There's only a short hallway between my room and the stairs. Meaning, Rena had, for about an hour, in the hall. No, she couldn't have been standing in front of my door all that time. The door to my room wasn't particularly thick. You could easily hear everything being said inside. All of the unsettling and unguarded things I spoke to Oishi-san about began rushing through my head.
Honey, don't tease him. More importantly, you need to clean up your studio. It's a mess again.
Mom yelled at Dad from downstairs. Dad left the tray with me and went downstairs with a disappointed chortle. I followed my dad out of the room with my eyes. I looked down at the floor at the doorway where Rena might have stood all that time. Just now, as I was talking to Oishi-san, with my back turned, Rena was standing a mere 6 feet away, the whole time. What is that? Why is it doing that?
I don't know.
What is happening? Okay, well you said you had about an hour anyway, so that might be a good place to,
Yeah, that's a good place to stop for now.
What the hell?
Not sure what that was, but...
Okay, I think I'm gonna report that one to the 07th mod team, maybe. That's a little interesting. Anyway,
yeah, that was weird.
Thank you for joining, and I hope you had fun.
Yep, I did.
Alright.
I'm certainly brought up some stuff for me to think about.
Oh, indeed. Alright, well,
Yeah.
Goodbye, Hinamizawa. Hopefully you will, not do whatever this is next time.
Hopefully not.
Later.